Good morning, everyone. Wow, we're really in the home stretch now. We've got just a week and a half till we are upon Christmas Day. And today's theme came about because I was Christmas caroling over the weekend with some friends, and we were talking about the verses in the song We Three Kings. And it got me curious to revisit the legend or the history of the Magi. And looking at the history in the Bible accounts, you see that three kings or three magi follow stars, follow astrology, and find Jesus, Mary, and Joseph in a stable and bring gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And in the tradition, Christianity holds that they're from three different places and that they converge somewhere along the way, that they're all following the stars because it's a remarkable set of constellations, and they were all impelled from their private countries. And there's not a common belief that it's one country versus another, but I'm going to refer to the three kings from one tradition, and that's that one is from Persia, one is from India, and one is Babylonian from Arabia. So you've got three very different locations. And they each bring a different gift, which is remarkable. And I think it opens up to us an opportunity to look at this from an archetypal or a mythological point of view, because each king didn't bring three traditional gifts. Each king brought a gift. But if you look more deeply at history, a lot of times these anointings, the gold, the frankincense, and the myrrh, were used for royalty or persons of note in numerous different cultures, all three gifts. So it's very interesting that the gifts would come individually from separate countries. And it harkens to me in our life that we are oftentimes receiving an anointing in different forms, from different origins, and in different ways, if we're open to receiving those anointings. The anointing of gold is for royalty. It is the recognition of the great dignity that we each have, and the great reign we're meant to have here in this temporal world. The frankincense is an anointing for godliness, and sometimes it refers to prayer, and other times it refers to the essence of God. So I'm leaning into the second here, and that frankincense is an anointing to realize our God essence. And myrrh is a balm or anointing for suffering. And oftentimes suffering is linked to the humanity piece, right? That humanity is that quality of ourselves that's bound by time and space and still awakening into our God essence. I do believe that once we're fully alive as human beings, that God is in its fullness and our humanity is godlike. So I wouldn't pit them as either or, either you're God or you're human at any moment. You can take it the way you want. So I take myrrh a little bit more as the healing balm that comes in the face of where we cause ourselves suffering. And we have two opportunities here. This morning's meditation is going to be one using the imagination, because we're drawing upon the three essences as archetypal. An archetype means that we need to move out of our own constructs, our own way of looking at something, and open up to a larger pattern of what might be possible. So in our imagination, which I think is really a gateway to the self, capital S, we're going to receive these anointings. And we're also going to be anointed to give these anointings. Every day we come across people in our path. Every day. Whether they're people that are close to us, people we don't know. And if we're living into our fullness, we have the opportunity to anoint them with our word, with our presence. It is a powerful gift we've been given to step into our ability to anoint and to anoint. And sometimes we and other human beings, sometimes we need to be reminded that at our essence, we're God. And sometimes we need to be reminded that we have dignity and we have a call to reign, REIGN, in this world. If we can but tap that part of ourselves and live it out with abandon. And sometimes we and others are in need of a word that's a balm. And it is remarkable to me that they would bring these essences that are consecratory actions. And it invites us to step into a greater vulnerability, to be consecrated, to let ourselves be touched by being consecrated. Almost all human beings have a certain defense up that can make it difficult to receive the consecration. We have our unworthiness or our justifications or our ideas of what we deserve or what we don't deserve. We have popular collective consciousness of what's okay and what's being weak. And even more, we're invited to step into a vulnerability with others that has a tenderness at all times. The Magi were humbled at the sight of this little baby in a stable. They were humbled. When we are consecrated with these three anointings, we're humbled before the human being before us. We're the opposite of thinking we know or posturing or putting forth our superiority or even our certainty of what we believe is right or wrong or what we see or we don't see. When we let ourselves be guided and anointed, we find ourselves undone, like these magi traditionally or mythologically were undone as they came into a stable and saw a little boy with two parents in a dirty stable. But they were pure enough to not miss that moment. And their presentation of their gifts, at least from the accountings, was not one of king to king. It was one of servant to servant. So today's meditation is about being consecrated, that we might have the capacity and the ability to let ourselves be such, anointed such, and to let ourselves anoint in that way that is humble, and not again humble that comes from unworthiness, but humble from knowing the truth about ourselves. for the truth will always set us free. So I invite you to close your eyes. And I would like you to imagine that you are in some place out in nature that makes your heart sing. You are completely alone. And if it is nighttime, you're sitting or are near a fire. And if it's daytime, the light is good enough. Let yourself, on a sense level, imagine the feel of the air around you, of the sunshine or not, of the presence of trees or animals or plants, of the feel of the ground. Be there in spirit, which is the essence of who and what you are. And in this place of solitude, you hear the sound of steps. And as you look around, you see one sacred individual approaching you, man or woman or other. And this person looks to you with an eye of such gratitude to see you. And they come and they kneel before you. And perhaps you kneel with them. And they hand to you a gift of gold. You let yourself receive it, a sign of the abundance in which you're meant to live, an abundance of freedom of spirit in this world, a recognition that you have all you need inside of you. They place their hands upon your forehead, for their power is great. And you receive the anointing. And you hear more footsteps, and another sacred individual appears before you. And they too are humbled with gratitude to see you, to find the one they are looking for. They give you the gift of frankincense, invoking your divinity. And they place their hands upon your forehead. You feel the power of their touch. And footsteps come one last time. And this sacred individual joins the other two. And they give you the gift of myrrh, a balm for your suffering. And you receive this balm simply. They place their hands upon your forehead to anoint you with healing. Suffering happens in this world, and to receive healing for our suffering is the first step to liberation. And you remain with these three. And as this morning's meditation and reflection come to a close, you allow a prayer to come forward with these three for each person in the world, that they too may receive the anointing of gold and frankincense and myrrh. And in this prayer, we bring this morning's gathering to a close. I invite you to bring your palms together in front of your heart, to thank the sacred ones that were part of your experience today. And to open your eyes with Namaste. Namaste. Have a great day, everyone.